This program describes how to perform a simple self-health care routine known as the 8 Brocades. This routine has been practiced by billions of people in China for nearly a millennium, and it has recently grown in popularity around the world. Presented in this video is a synthesis of traditional and modern approaches to the 8 Brocades, refocused through a lens of contemporary kinesiology. Supplementing the video is a manual that provides not only detailed instructions for how to perform the routine, but also many topics to support your practice. The video program begins with a basic overview of principles and characteristics of 8 Brocades, as well as general points for practice, and then moves on to some key points regarding each routine specifically. Next is a full demonstration of the performance, which runs about 15 minutes. That's the section you might want to watch for guidance while practicing the routine for the first few weeks. Following the full demonstration, I present some alternative ways to perform the routines, including guidelines from a movement science perspective. Lastly, I've included the full demonstration again, with the inclusion of a video frame showing the performance from a rear view. This may help you if you find following right and left directions from mirror images to be a challenge. Please note, the companion manual for this program contains supplemental information such as suggestions for regulating the breath and mind during your practice, as well as noting the traditional purposes for each routine. The particular method of 8 Brocades demonstrated here corresponds with the version developed by the Chinese Health Qigong Association. However, most all versions seem to share the same fundamental points. Start with a gentle, relaxed demeanor and a mind ready to focus on the present. Movements and breath are slow, natural, coordinated, and without restraint. The physical attitude is characterized as a rhythmic combination between relaxation and strength. The movements are performed slowly and smoothly, and are initiated from the spine. Your muscular activity should be neither too loose nor too tight, but both relaxed and having a profound inner strength. The mental attitude to hold during the exercise is characterized as a rhythmic combination between dynamism and inertia. In this sense, inertia means to maintain a steady, calm mind even during transition between routines. Dynamism means to mindfully move in a flexible, vivid, natural manner. And this is about how attitude and intent are conveyed in a movement. The mental attitude characteristics are to be coordinated, continuous, and consistent. Coordination should be managed between upper and lower body, and between breath and movement. Regarding breathing, aim for deep and natural breathing without any constraint. The exercise should be done continuously, without interruption, and consistently, about 5 days a week or more. Integration of these physical and mental attributes produces harmony and symmetry in movements and stillness, and it's believed to improve one's health and fitness. Movements should be gentle, relaxed, and extending gracefully on the basis of a well-balanced stance. When stepping sideways, the right foot remains rooted. Step sideways with the left foot. The same is with the upper limbs. Lead with the left. The reverse exception is in routine 5, where you step and begin movement to the right. Otherwise, begin routines with rooting the right and leading with the left. Whether you are wearing shoes or not, keep your feet engaged with the ground, sometimes mindfully. The knees are rarely fully extended, and when flexed, never go beyond the toes. Keep your spine in neutral alignment when not doing rotary motions. Movements are initiated from a stable spine, which you may imagine as having supple stiffness. Keep your shoulders relaxed. Stay loose, but steady and in control. Look straight ahead, except when directed to otherwise. Keep the jaw relaxed and tongue touching the hard palate just behind the teeth. Breathing should be gentle yet fulfilling. Stay below 70% of your capacity. Typically, inhale with expansive pushing movements and exhale with retracting pulling movements. Preparation. You begin by establishing a rhythm of diaphragmatic breathing. Place your mind on your body. Anywhere you feel tension, relax. Ensure that you have a vertically elongated spine. Your chin is slightly retracted, jaw relaxed, tongue on the palate, and feet in proper contact with the ground. In routine 1, inhale with an expanding torso while raising the hands. When pressing up, strength is applied through the base of the palms, and while lowering the hands, relax and keep the shoulders down. Routine 2. Keep your feet pointing forward and your spine vertical. When stepping sideways, if you step left, the left arm extends, pushing to that side. The arm farther away in the X that you are forming in front of your chest will extend as if holding a bow. The arms and hands should be horizontally level when posing as an archer. Routine 3. Breathe as in routine 1 with a relaxed waist and shoulders. Apply strength at the base of the palms when pressing up and down, but don't fully straighten the elbows. Routine 4. Keep the head up and level, shoulders down. When turning the head, don't turn the upper body. When turning the arms, retract and laterally rotate the shoulders. Routine 5. Keep the normal curves of the spine when squatting. When swinging the upper body, the neck and sacrum should be stretched away from each other slowly and gently. Move in a round and flowing manner. Also, don't pull in the chin or tilt it upward. Try to relax and elongate the vertebral muscles. You can adjust the depth of the squat to suit your ability. If it's too strenuous, reduce the depth, or take a brief standing pause periodically, as I show in the full performance video. Routine 6. If you're practicing in the early morning, or if you have vertebral disc problems, maintain a neutrally straight spine when bending forward. That might mean not reaching down to your feet, which is perfectly fine. Proceed just the same and reach only as far as you can go. While bending forward, keep the knees straight or nearly so, and when returning upright, lead with the arms. Routine 7. Make the eyes glare at the clenched fist when it is thrust out. Try to grasp the floor with your toes. Maintain a vertically neutral spine. Routine 8. When raising the heels, try to grasp the floor with your toes. Maintain balance. Elongate through the spine. Keep the shoulders and arms down and the body relaxed. Maintain some control when dropping the heels to the floor. Decelerate somewhat, and especially so if you have bone density or joint concerns. Closing form. Relax and breathe naturally. The right hand is placed inside for females, the left for males. With its attempt to standardize the 8 brocades, the Chinese Health Qigong Association is very prescriptive regarding how to perform the routines. However, with nearly 1,000 years of evolution behind it, there are many other versions in practice out there. Every source I've read, watched, or learned directly from describes slightly different ways of performing the exercise. In this section, I've provided suggestions for other ways to perform the routines as indicated among what seem to be the most reliable sources I've found. Your stance should be approximately shoulder width, but a little narrower or wider is fine. Regarding the interlacing fingers and head extension, if and when these activities happen is variable, so these are probably not crucial elements. Some sources include a rising up on the toes while lifting the arms, and then lowering the heels back down while the arms descend. Other variables are to add some torso rotation while raising the arms, or to include side bends with the arms raised overhead. Keep the shoulders relaxed and avoid elevating them. Keep the spine in a neutral alignment. Don't let the head poke forward, nor allow a hunching of the back. From a side view, your ears should align over your shoulders, which should align over your hips, knees, and feet. Among all the sources I've analyzed, only the CHQA prescribes the side stepping and arm rotation when switching between right and left sides. Other methods just indicate that you should widen your stance, maintain a partial squat throughout the routine, and simply reverse the arm action as shown here when returning to start position. What seems consistent in all sources is that when the arms are crossed in front, the outer hand is the one that will be pushing to that side. What appears most variable is the hand position of the outstretched arm as demonstrated here. Try these out and notice how each results in a different feeling of tension within your hand and arm. While squatting, ensure your knees line up over or behind your toes, not in front of them. Your arms should be fairly horizontal when fully pushing-pulling. Keep your shoulders down and use the muscles behind and between them. Avoid leaning or twisting. Keep a vertical spine and turn only the head and neck. For this routine, the most common variant is looking up at the raised hand rather than just straight forward. If extending the head causes pain in your neck, avoid looking up in this routine as well as during the first. Just maintain good, neutral vertebral alignment and look straight ahead. Regarding the arm action, the Qigong master I studied from in China performed it slightly differently, as shown here. I asked her about why she did the movement in this way, and she responded that it's simply easier and more natural, producing the same end result. And with some analysis, it does seem likely to reduce the chance of provoking shoulder impingement. So, if the standardized method gives you some discomfort in the shoulder when raising the arms, try this alternate version instead. The different approaches to this routine involve how the arms are used. Some show having the arms at the sides, either loosely or on the hips. If on the hips, make a V with your thumb and fingers, with the thumb to the back and the fingers to the front. Secondly, the arms can be held in front, either with the palms up, as shown here, or against the abdomen, as in the final closing form described in this video. One source describes doing a few repetitions with the arms at the sides, a few more with the arms in front, and then add this third variation where the hands are placed behind the back with palms on the lower ribs, fingers pointing down over the lumbar area. When turning the head, keep the motion horizontal and avoid having the head tilt up or down. Also, keep the range of motion within your comfort zone. Avoid generating pain with this action. The alternate arm positions will each stretch the tissues in front of the chest and neck somewhat differently, which may provide additional benefit. There seem to be a lot of different interpretations of this routine. The one element that is described consistently is to begin with a horse stance, that's a wide stance squat, with hands on the thighs, thumbs pointed outward and fingers inward. Here are two variations that seem to me quite appropriate given the purpose of this routine. This first alternative can provide a stretch to the connective tissues leading down to and surrounding your heart. Basically, you begin to rotate the upper body in one direction and then turn the head to look the other way. With the torso and the head rotating away from each other, try to look down at your heel. Keep your shoulders down, especially the one opposite the side you are facing. This can place tension on the fascia connecting the neck to the pericardium of the heart. Notice how it feels slightly different from the stretch provided in the previous exercise. Following the purpose of the routine, I think it might be good to combine this method with the CHQA standardized one, as the swinging of the torso component was developed in order to move the heat of the heart toward the cooler sides of the lungs. Combining the first variation with this second one shown here might achieve that same end by first stretching the intrathoracic fascia and then mobilizing the tissues surrounding the lungs and pumping those cavities by virtue of the circular actions of the entire shoulder complex. The shoulder circles can be done in either the horse stance or when standing straight. If you're performing these shoulder rolls, be sure to do them in both the forward and the backward directions. Most variations of this routine include a back bend prior to the forward bend, and at the bottom of the forward bend, adding a grasping of the feet to tug further into flexion. The reasoning seems to be the belief that these actions will add a compressive stimulation to the kidneys. What differs beyond that is how the arms are moved. While bending down, the arms can either pass in front or behind the legs, and while returning back to an upright, the arms might pass along the front, insides, or outsides of the legs. It's also been described to begin by raising the arms overhead and then lowering them in front of the body, move them down toward the feet while flexing forward, and then raise them along the backside of the body as much as possible, back to the overhead position, effectively circling the body, down the front and up the back. How one bends down and straightens up can be done in many ways with regard to the vertebral and hip joints. One way would be to flex each vertebral joint in succession from the top down, and then extend each one from the bottom up. Another way is to keep the vertebrae fairly aligned in a straight posture and bend forward only at the hips. Typically, a more natural forward bend falls somewhere within these two extremes, with some joints being relatively straighter than others. Avoid this first method of individual vertebral flexion soon after you've risen from sleep, as the intervertebral discs are at their fullest hydration then and can be more vulnerable to herniation pressures. Also be careful if you pull on the feet or legs, as soft tissues in a tense back may be strained, and the compression on the front of the discs produces pressures that can promote herniation. Bend only as far as you comfortably can. Likewise, the backward extension can place pressures on the bony joints of the vertebrae and should be avoided if that action causes pain. Alternate forms involve also thrusting the fists to the sides, and describe the hand position change during the thrust as turning 180 degrees, so the knuckles are up, palms are down. Keep your shoulders relaxed and down. The narrower your stance, the more you will be challenging your balance. Before or while raising onto the toes, your arms may slightly move away to the sides and then return adjacent to the sides. Most describe the drop as a jolt or a sharp, sudden drop. However, not all sources state this, and as I'll point out next, a sharp, sudden drop might not be in your best interest. It's important to keep a naturally straight back during this routine. To help keep the vertebrae in good neutral alignment, imagine a rope pulling upward through your head. If you tend to have a slightly forward head posture, gently push back on your chin before starting. The impact of the heel drop transmits up through your skeleton. If you have bone or joint concerns, especially in the hips, back, or neck, avoid dropping with a forceful impact. Soften your drop by descending slowly.